Manikarnika was actually playing in a theater close to me, and I had to go check it out. It's the first international movie out of India that I went to see on the big screen. I'm James, and welcome to Mirror Domains. All right, let's talk about this movie. Alright guys, so Manikarnika is a movie that I've been anticipating for some time now, and if you are familiar with my channel, you know the bulk of my knowledge is about North American productions. This review will happen in a couple of parts. One, I'll talk about my anticipation level for this, and that's just basically me before I see the movie. And then two, I'll give you my immediate reactions to it, just when I came out of the theater. And then in the third part, I'll do my review and actual technical breakdown. And four, I'll address my closing thoughts and the controversies surrounding this film. I'll briefly touch on that. Okay, so first up, let's talk about my anticipation levels. So, a while back, the trailer for Manikarnika popped up in my suggestions list on the side on YouTube. It looked like it had the use of visual effects in it, so I decided to see how a foreign film did their visual effects. So that's how it started. I did a reaction to that trailer, and I'll put a link to those reactions up in the cards above if you want to watch them. Now, I was already familiar with movies coming out of Hong Kong in the 80s and the 90s, and I watched the occasional film from Europe. But this was really the start of my interest of movies coming out of Bollywood and Tollywood, India. But I couldn't imagine myself getting more excited for this. My hype level is through the roof. So that's it. That's the stage. I'm off to see the movie. Hope it's good.
झांसी आप भी चाहते हैं और मैं भी। फर्क सिर्फ इतना है, आपको राज करना है और मुझे अपनों की सेवा।
Oh, okay. I just got out of the film, and I gotta say, I got a huge smile on my face. I was immediately on my phone tweeting and saying that, wow, I was floored. I really, really enjoyed this movie. The performances really took me by surprise. This Kangana Ranaut really did a good job. I'm really hoping that I'm pronouncing her name right. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, the camera loves her. And the other guy that stood out to me was her general, played by an older guy. I forgot his name, but he has an epic fight scene in the middle, and it's so cool because he's not really with her to begin with, and then she has this speech that she gives him, and he's on board, and it's just this really cool fight scene. Yeah, I enjoyed that. The cinematography on this, it's a huge standout. Let's see what else. The performances, I have to recommend that people see it specifically for her performance. And I'm floored. Absolutely floored. That's my initial reaction. Let me sleep on it, and I'll get you my formal review tomorrow.
सब कुछ मिट गया, अब किसके लिए लड़ेंगे हम?
See the look on her face?
हमारा पहला प्यार मातृभूमि नहीं है क्या लक्ष्मी?
Okay, so after having a night or so to sleep on it, here is my review. Movies that come out of India have a different structure to them. They use different formats than movies that come out of North America. They have musical numbers in them. And knowing this, I didn't find the music in this movie out of place. I was prepared for it because I knew about this style before going in. But that aside from the actual singing parts of the soundtrack, for me, the actual sound, the score was also great. There was this theme that was spread throughout the film, a 3 or 4 note piece that echoes throughout the film that I found was extremely effective. The acting in this from all the Indian actors was fairly well done, but the overall acting was a bit of a mix. The English, the British, was not portrayed the best way in the film, and I know that that's the way they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be the bad guys, but in this, it's hard for me to tell because of cultural differences. For me, the English actors seemed a little wooden. And what I mean by that is, it's like when you first see them, they speak, but their faces hardly move. Their lips are moving, but their eyes and the rest of their face don't move. So it's a little bit, that's what I mean by wooden. It's like, it's not till later in the film when you actually see a little bit more passion out of them. It's, especially from the army commanders. You know, when they actually say, "What? She got away!" and you actually get to see some expression. But when you first see them speak, yeah, they hardly move. And it's just, I can't tell if that's the actor or the style of directing. And I'll address the directing part a little bit later on. But for me, it's hard for me to tell. I don't know if it's just a cultural thing, how people from different areas of the world express emotion differently and receive it differently. And maybe that's what I'm not reading properly. But like, as I said, people display their emotions in different ways. It's hard for me to discern, but I'll tell you this, it doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the film. I did wonder, though, at times as to why some of the English generals were not speaking English to their other generals. It was kind of weird. They did partially, but you think they would do it all the time. Like say, "Bring up the cannons!" Like, you know, just things like that. I found that was a little bit odd. Okay, so let's talk about the directing. This is where the controversy comes in, and I'll talk more about the controversy towards the end of my review. But, I'll tell you this, it looked like it was a cohesive piece. Moving on to the story, I am very comfortable with looking at 3 and 5 act structures. In hindsight, I'm trying to think about how it all unfolded, and I don't want to get bogged down in a lot of the technical, boring stuff of story structure, but the movie was paced fairly well. Things went along fairly smoothly. It had an intermission, which they called an interval. Actually, I really enjoyed that. You know why? I wasn't expecting it, and they used to have intermissions in North American productions when they were like 3 hours long, and this one was about 2.5 hours, just a little bit over, and I actually kind of enjoyed getting up and being able to move around. That was cool. I liked that. Let's talk a little bit more about this pacing. Oh no. There were 2 really big war scenes in it. As I said about the one actor, her general has this big fight scene in one war scene, and that was cool. And of course, it's all capped off by this big final war, like, showdown that we saw in the trailers. And it's big, it's bold, it's bloody. And I was really happy that they didn't hold back and they didn't hold any punches, you know. They really embraced the brutality of war and just her emotions through this. It was just, wow, that's cool. And I think that alone will help sell this movie to North American audiences, because that's how we kind of like attach to certain properties. We say, oh, hey, that looks cool, I want to see that. And a lot of the war action sequences were well done. For me, some of the best scenes were of just her talking, actually, with some of her generals, and the setup with her husband in the beginning. I thought, that chemistry between her and the king played off fairly well, actually. It's just, she has this charisma about her. And I can just, as I said, with that scene with the general, she has this speech that she gives that she's fighting this war for the future. And this is what wins him over to her side. And you just see the loyalty of him going, yep, that's it. I'm with you now, all the way to the end. And it was just beautifully done. Beautiful. A few things happen a bit fast at the start. I mean, I understand that it was condensed for story's sake, which they did highlight before the movie started. They said they were going to take a few liberties with the actual history. So for me, I'm not too sure what the actual history is. As I said, when I first came home, I wanted to do some research on this. So let me know in the comments below. Did this really follow a lot of the history close? Because it is an interesting story. It's a fascinating story. And yeah. All right. So if I had to think of any bad things to say about it, there's really not too much. There's a certain point where they had to use CG backgrounds, and that's just because of the scope of what they were going for. They had some CG fillers here and there. Now, as I said in one of my trailer reactions for this, we do that in North America too. So I chose to look at it as a style choice, despite one of the directors saying that he wasn't totally happy with the way that it looked in the final product. I think it looked okay. It was just, I accepted that this was the style of it, and just the way that she was reacting to things, it sold me. So for that, I didn't dock any points. But you know what? In the end, I think it was okay. It was good. It was a good film. And here's my overall score sheet. All right, if you want to know how all of these categories work, I'll leave a link in the description in the cards up above. Acting, I gave 1.5. Directing, 1.5. Story, 1.5. Cinematography, I gave a full point. Score/soundtrack, I gave a full point. And the watchability factor, I gave it 2, because you'll definitely want to watch this more than once. And I probably will be looking to acquire this on Blu-ray at some point in time. It just was a really good movie. It is now my favorite movie of 2019. Yep, it's number 1. And I'm going to put that on the list in the description below. It's my number 1 movie, but we are just here in the first week of February, so, you know, the list will change throughout the year. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Adding all that up, that's an 8.5 out of 10 for Manikarnika. All right. Wrapping things up. It made me, as I said, want to come home and do some research. In the theater, it listed 2 directors, and in North America, that's fairly normal. It's no big deal. We have directing duos here and there, the Russos, who did the Avengers and other MCU movies. And I'll address this little controversy now on my way out. Upon first viewing, it didn't feel like it had the touch of 2 directors. Like there wasn't a glaring change of tone. If you've ever watched the movie Justice League, you'll see that there's a glaring tone change between Zack Snyder's footage and Joss Whedon's. Like there's just a story tone change. I didn't feel any of that in Manikarnika. I felt like it seemed like a well cohesive piece. I don't want to get too much into the drama with stuff because I never really followed the production. Normally in North America, I would have known all of this stuff even before the film came out. But all I can say is that the film didn't seem to reflect any of it. The gist is that I guess one actor was cut out and Kangana reshot some stuff herself, and that seemed okay. The whys and the hows, I'm sure we will never fully know, but the star of this film is her. Her performance carries this film. You have to recognize the other directors' contributions as part of it. I mean, for sure. Just like Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. As I said, in my immediate reaction, I felt like I wanted to come home and do research, and I found that she directed some of this part, and I'm like, oh, wow, she's a really, really talented person. She's a true talent. And not only in front of the camera, but, behind it as well, calling some of the shots. And I foresee that she will have a tremendous future ahead of her. Yeah, as an artist, not only acting wise, but hopefully directing and producing too later on. Because I think it was well done. So that's my review for Manikarnika. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. What was your favorite part? People in the theater, for my viewing, were actually cheering at some points, like during the battle and fight sequences. I want to know if it impacted you like that. Let me know, because let's chat about it in the comment section below. Yeah. Good movie. All right, that's it. My name is James, and you're watching Mirror Domains. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And I guess the only question that remains is that, am I deeply in love with her? Oh, most definitely yes. All right, that's it. That's my review for Manikarnika.